Hello everyone. Welcome on in. I'm Velvet. Thanks for joining me today for this speed build in The Sims 4. We are building a cemetery and funeral event center from a shell challenge. So that's a lot of fun. So not only do we have it as a shell challenge, but we're building on a 64 by 64 lot in Ravenwood in The Sims 4, and we're turning it into a cemetery and funeral venue. So I'm excited to do this. I haven't done a funeral venue for, wow, it's a good long while. I think since, yeah, the only other funeral venue or the sort of cemetery I've done is like a cute little family venue that I did. And it was actually for another shell challenge by Mina Buckner. And it was just like a little cute one, whereas this is kind of the opposite, and it's more like a big kind of community style funeral venue rather than being or cemetery rather than being like, you know, a little niche family one. So yeah, this is I think really my very first big cemetery, so that's exciting, in a 64 by 64 lot. So it's huge. But you know what, I managed and it wasn't too bad. But you know, fortunately it's a lot of just mainly landscaping. But you know, in saying that, landscaping can take quite a while and can be quite fiddly. So yeah. And now this shell challenge is being hosted by Pretty Poison Simming. So if you haven't checked out her channel, I will put a link in the description below for you, and you can go check her channel out. It's fantastic. She does wonderful builds, some gameplays, and a bit of CAS as well. So yeah, really wonderful South African simmer. Fabulous person, and she put on this shell challenge called PPS Shell 03. And I think you can probably see that title right up in the top left hand corner. You can sort of see what it's called there. So it's a shell challenge, and she puts on these every now and then, so you get to see those shell challenge up on her gallery, and you can maybe download those and take part as well if you are interested in shell challenges. But I looked at the shell and I decided that, or I looked at it and I thought, you know what, that's actually a really, you know, it's a decent hefty sized shell. Maybe I could do something community-ish. Then I thought, well, what haven't I done for a while? And I don't know, I just was kind of in a mood to build a funeral home. I don't know what mood that is. I don't know, but that's the mood I was in. The other thing that I did with this pack is I made this a limited pack build. So this only takes a few packs. The packs that I used, let me see. So obviously base game and life and death. And for rent, it actually lists for rent as a pack that I used because I used it for some of the roof trim. And then I decided, well, the roof trim was kind of sticking through the wall. So I was like, well, okay, we're not going to use that roof trim. So I changed the roof trim. And then I couldn't find whatever, yeah, other roof trim. I missed some roof trim somewhere. So it says for rent, but if you don't have for rent, don't worry, you can actually get this particular build without worrying about that because there's nothing actually there that's for rent. I got distracted. So what are the other packs that I use? So the other packs are Get Together and Growing Together and Wedding Stories. So Life and Death, Growing Together, Get Together, and Wedding Stories. So 4 packs really. It says 5 with for rent, but yeah, actually really 4 packs. I did dig into debug for this. Now I actually built this without mods because at the time of filming this, Better Build Buy was down and out of action due to an update. So I just purely built this with cheats. There you go. So no mods even with this build. So no mods, limited packs. 64 by 64 lot. You know what? I think I did okay. Right? I think I did okay. I did try to get it kind of symmetrical on both sides. So, and I kind of divided it into areas in the cemetery. So the idea was I had like the mausoleum area down the back, so you can sort of see that boom, 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 boom. So it's 3 mausoleums on each side, so a total of 6. So those are kind of like the more top end, most expensive plots that you could have in the cemetery. And then on either side, you have like the concrete slab cemeteries. No, cemeteries. What am I talking about? Plots. And they dot on either side. And I think there's 1, 2, 3. I think there's 6 on either side. 5 or 6. It's going too fast for me to work it out. I think it's 5 or 6 on either side. So you've got about 10 to 12 of those on either side. I think it's 5. And then close in, you got the dirt plots. And there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's so 8 on either side, so you've got about 16 of those. So this would really work for a large community cemetery, because there's Velvet does the math. Boop, 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 boop. I don't know, there's lots. 10, 20, 20, what's that? 8 times 2, 26, 27, 28, 29, 32. Okay, so there's about 32 plots. That was too much maths for me. Brain explode. So about 32 plots all up. That's not too bad, right? And I wanted to make it user-friendly for if you want to hold a funeral here as well. So say you pick up your urn and you trot along here to the funeral centre, and you can actually have your funeral here. So it's all-purpose for funerals and being a cemetery as well. So I wanted to make it really user-friendly for the community. And on the inside, there's a lawyer's office, so you could do like your will readings and stuff there. There is a life celebration area, so there's like a bar, so if you want to be down and gloomy and sad, you can, drown your sorrows. Or if you want to celebrate, then you can do like the celebration side of things and be more upbeat and have a good remembrance session of the life that was. And yeah, so there's like a bar area and there's like a food area as well. I did make a kitchen and food preparation area. So if you had like caterers there, they could do their catering and stuff and bring the food out, or whatever the story is. You can actually probably have a little, just trying to think. Yeah, there is a table in the kitchen space as well, so you could eat in that space too. So if there's staff on hand, that can be used as a staff area. There's a teeny tiny little office for the manager of the funeral venue, and then upstairs there's a large funeral area. So it's actually two areas for funerals. So there's one small one out on the balcony, and there's a larger one on the inside as well. And I created like this cute little pergola down there, little gazebo thing, gazebo. I don't really know the difference. Just a little outside hut thing that you can sit in. So I thought, you could sit there and really just remember about your dearly departed, and yeah, if you need to have a sad moment while you're sitting in the gazebo and looking at the lovely pond that I created as well. I don't know, I just kind of felt like it needed a pond, so I was like, I'm going to put a pond in the corner, so I put a pond in the corner. What can I say? And because of the area of Ravenwood that it was in, like if you look at the trees around this plot of land, it's like quite a lot of the swampy kind of style trees. So that's why I leaned into having that swampy tree in the middle of the pond and coming out of it, just because of the area that it was in. And you might catch it here and there in the background. You can see the trees, and they're all, they're quite swampy. And originally the tree that I had in the corner by the mausoleums on the top right hand corner, that's a swampy tree as well, I think, at the moment still. That I ended up changing that because I was just like, I wanted something a little prettier, and I felt like, maybe they would have something a little prettier in a cemetery. So I did end up changing that back swampy tree, but I liked the front swampy tree because I felt like it was a little nod to the nature of the area, particularly with having a pond there as well. So leaned into that. And yeah, I used a bit of debug. Actually, I used quite a lot of debug with this build, primarily landscaping stuff and fencing. I don't think I used too much else. And I know I used on the inside, I used like this coffin that's on a plinth or like a stand of some sort. That's actually a debug item as well. And that was in like the funeral area. So I'm pretty sure that's a debug item. But yeah, other than that, I don't think I used too much else, but it was a lot of debug fencing and a lot of debug landscaping stuff. I didn't want to go overboard with the landscaping because I felt like this wasn't the kind of venue where you would use like a crazy amount of flowers and that sort of thing. I felt like the flowers would be the focal point of the grave sites themselves, where people would bring the flowers and, that sort of thing. So I didn't want to go overboard with it, but I did use like little sprays of flowers from Wedding Stories. Those were very useful for this build. So Wedding Stories actually ended up being quite an interesting mix with the Life and Death pack in terms of having really useful items for that sort of style. Like the floral arrangements particularly were really useful for this build. I did do a whole lot of lighting on the outside as well because, Sims and how time flies in Sims. And next thing you know, it's nighttime. And I wanted to have the venue still lit up in the night as well, so Sims could visit nighttime or daytime if they wanted to. So I did skip over bits and pieces here and there because, it was a lot of repetition in terms of like putting down slabs to frame the paving and lights, like dotting that around all over the place. So, a little bit of repetition because it's such a large lot and you just kind of have to, repeat things over and over again. So I skipped over a bit of that repetition, but you get to see most of what I did here. But, it didn't take too long for a 64 by 64 lot, but I feel like because it is a community lot, it doesn't take as long to build generally. I do find that with community lots versus residential lots that they don't quite take as long to build. Oh yeah, and I changed the outside of the build because I was using Growing Together. Did I mention I was using Growing Together? Yeah, Life and Death, Get Together, Growing Together, Wedding Stories. I decided to use the Growing Together wood on the outside instead, so I went with a slightly darker brown. I'd originally gone with a lighter brown because it matched the little wedding turret, little turret thing, tower thing. But then I decided, you know what, I just want to run with a slightly darker brown. I just was vibing with that color a bit better, so that's just what I went for. I also decided that I wanted to have, just a little decorative touch on the outside of the building as well. So I brought in a bit of debug ivy and using the Get Together flower. Oh, what are they called? Flower pots? Not flower pots, not flower beds. Darn. Window flower pot things. Today they're called window flower pot things, okay? Okay. I thought they would be quite a good match for this style of build because it isn't a particularly modern build. I didn't go ultra modern or anything like that on the styling. I did consider that because I kind of, we had the glass walls and we had the glass walls come out last week in The Sims. And I was so tempted to do lots of glass everywhere and do like an ultra modern sort of style funeral home, but I don't know, it just wasn't vibing with the area I ended up putting it in. I was just like, no, it doesn't really suit Ravenwood, so I went in a different direction. And I'm glad that I did because I feel like the direction that I went in does actually really suit the world, whereas I feel like if I'd gone ultra modern, maybe it would have looked out of place, or maybe it would have been fine. I don't know, but this ended up being the vibe, and it also worked with the packs that I ended up choosing as well. In terms of the styling, I think I probably would have had to choose different packs if I'd gone like a lot more ultra modern, I feel like. So anyway, we have now moved on to the inside of the building. We've finished, I think, a majority, if not all, of the outside. So in this front area, because I had the tower thing, it was kind of sticking through the wall on the inside with how I had to position it. So I ended up creating like these little inset hall areas just to kind of cover it up on the second floor. That was basically the whole reason I created these, but I think it ended up working because it was like a kind of a good entrance area for people just to leave their cats. Don't leave your cats in the hall. Your hats and coats. Hats and coats, cats. Yeah. Anyway, so I think it ended up working out quite nicely. So this is kind of like your functional catering area, little kitchenette kind of thing where you can prepare any foods, or you can have your staff preparing all the foods and that sort of thing, and getting ready for the event. So I felt like that would be probably, particularly if you're throwing like the after funeral event at the funeral event place, then having a food option would make sense. And I set it up so that you could have a some sort of live celebration here after you've had the funeral. You can come here and still have the live celebration after. So this all sort of vibes with that concept that it's not just the funeral that you're having here, but you can actually celebrate the life here as well. And then so in the larger area down the back, that's where I created the bar and seating and meeting area. So the Sims can sit there and, have some remembrances about their dearly departed. And, as I said, you can have a few drinksies, a few nectars, And that could be to drown your sorrows, or it could be to raise your glass in celebration. Either of those things. And yeah, so I did a cute little bar, and just made it in like in a proper little area. I felt like having it sitting in behind, behind and kind of separate like that with the little walls on either side. Just gave it like a little bit of a division from the room, and like a little staff area as well. Also, I ended up not on the right hand side, but on the left hand side of the bar, I put like some kegs in there and stacked them up on shelves. So it's like a storage area as well. So I thought that was cool. But I think I did that off camera because I thought of it after. As I was doing what was I doing? Oh, I think I was doing playtesting, and I saw the opportunity there to put the kegs up there. And I was like, oh, I'll pop that in while I was playtesting. And as you see, there's been a dramatic wallpaper change. So this is the new wallpaper that came out with the Nature's Calling event, and this came out with the first week of the event. And I'd been looking for an opportunity to use this, and then when I put it as a feature wall in the office, I was like, oh no, I'm gonna yeet that dull grey that I've had on the wall. It was just kind of like a placeholder color because I just wasn't sure what I was going to do with the walls, and I was just like, saw this and I was like, snap, I know exactly what I'm going to put around all the walls. And it just lifted, I felt like, the whole build. It just suddenly, had a lot more of a cozier feel, and just a little bit more life to it, rather than being, a little bit, I was feeling a little drab with the grey. And I feel like it was a really good warm kind of replacement for the grey that I had there. Like the grey was quite neutral, which I was kind of looking for, but this had more texture to it, and yeah, as I said, like a little bit more warmth, and it really did suit the style of the build as well. So I was like, yeah, that works for me. I wasn't quite 100% what I wanted to put in this side of the room, which is why I kind of left it and went back to it. But I was like, you know what, let's have it as maybe it's like a catering area, or like staff area, or like a small family meal, or it could be many things. But yeah, I just wanted to make that sort of like a multi-functional kind of space where they could sit and have a few drinks, or prepare meals, or whatever they need to do. Now this is our office area, so this is a very small little teeny tiny office for the office manager, or for the funeral venue manager. So I just got some little basic things in there, and it's just a little office area which I thought was a good little functional thing to have. So now I'm working on the downstairs bathroom. So there is only one bathroom in this venue, and that is a fairly good sized bathroom though. It's got shower, toilet, sink on like two sides. So technically there's two sort of bathrooms that you can go into. It's like a one bathroom, but like you can go on this side or you can go on this side. So there's actually two there. So it should be plenty of room for the Sims to be able to get in there and do what they need to do. And then there's kind of like a sitting area in the bathroom. I just was thinking, if you've been grieving and you're feeling a bit upset and you just want that like little bit of space away from everybody else, I thought like the bathroom's probably a good spot. Maybe put a couple of seats in there, like lots of tissues. I put lots of tissues around the venue because cry, and yeah, I thought that would be like a nice space where they could just like escape for a minute and gather themselves and put themselves back together. So I just wanted to have like a sitting room area, and then like the little bathroom zones in the bathroom as well. And then we are upstairs now, and this is going to be the main funeral area. So we've got the one funeral area out on the balcony, which we did when we were doing the outside of the build, and then this is the main interior funeral area. So you're going to have like you've got your coffin there up on the plinth. So this is the debug one that I was talking about, so that you can go up on the platform and you can go do your mourning, or view the dearly departed. And then you've got your podium there, so you can do your speeches, etc., etc. Have a moment of silence if you need it, so bow your head. And then just like plenty of seating, just obviously for the funeral attendees. So that's basically what is involved. So I want to say thank you for watching. I'm going to leave you guys to enjoy the tours, and I will catch you next time round. Remember to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already.